You've probably seen a picture just like this, right? This tiny little boat tossed around in an ocean that looks like it's boiling with waves the size of mountains. It just looks impossible. You'd think it's a goner for sure. And yet somehow, these yachts can sail through storms that would terrify the captain of a massive ship. So, what's going on here? How is that even possible? Let's get into it.
I mean, really think about it. How can a boat that's maybe 10, 15 meters long take the full force of a 25-meter wave? That's like an 8-story building made of water crashing down on you, not to mention hurricane-force winds. The answer? Well, it's not what you'd expect, and it's full of some really brilliant engineering secrets.
Okay, so first things first, let's bust a myth. When you see a storm, what do you think is the biggest danger? The wind, right? I mean, that's what fills the sails. But actually, it's almost impossible for wind alone to flip a well-designed yacht. The real killer, the true enemy out there, is the wave, specifically a massive breaking wave that smashes into the side of the boat. That's where the danger is.
So to survive that unbelievable, crushing force, you'd think the boat has to be built like a tank, right? A totally rigid, unbreakable fortress. But the first secret is actually the complete opposite. It's all about flexibility. A yacht's survival starts not with resisting the wave, but with its ability to bend with it.
I love this quote because it's perfect. The hull behaves like a reed in the wind. Modern yachts are made of composite materials, like fiberglass, that are designed to be elastic. So when a monster wave hits, the hull literally flexes for a split second. It absorbs the shock and lets all that destructive energy just wash right over it. If it were perfectly stiff, it would just crack, snap under the pressure. That flexibility is what lets it live to see another day.
But, being flexible is only part of the story. A yacht has another secret weapon in a storm, and this one is completely hidden from view. It's deep down below the waves. We're talking about the keel.
So what on earth is a keel? Well, just picture a giant, super heavy fin made of solid lead or iron that's bolted to the very bottom of the boat. We're talking about several tons of weight, even on a small yacht. This thing is the boat's center of gravity. It's its anchor to the water. And the way it works is just ingenious. You know those little inflatable punching bags for kids? The ones with sand in the bottom? You can knock it completely flat, but it always pops right back up. That's exactly what the keel does for the yacht. When a huge wave smacks the boat on its side, it lifts that incredibly heavy keel up out of the water, and gravity just says, nope, and instantly pulls that massive weight back down, forcing the boat upright again.
And just how good is it? Get this. A properly designed boat can be knocked down to 140 degrees. I mean, that is nearly upside down, with the mast way down in the water, and it will still have the power to right itself. It's an absolutely mind-blowing feat of physics.
And here's where it gets really counterintuitive. This design is why a tiny yacht can often be more stable and less likely to capsize than a gigantic ship. A huge cargo ship has all its weight stacked high on the deck, so its center of gravity is relatively high. But a yacht? All that weight, all that ballast, is crammed into that keel as low as it can possibly go. That makes it fundamentally more stable.
Now, all of this theory, all this engineering, it was put to the most brutal and tragic real-world test imaginable back in 1979. What happened during the Fastnet race didn't just test boats. It rewrote the book on maritime safety.
Picture this. Over 300 boats start the race in perfect weather. But less than 24 hours later, a freak, unforecasted cyclone just slams into the fleet. We're talking hurricane-force winds and these incredibly violent, steep waves. The aftermath was a catastrophe. It sparked one of the biggest rescue operations ever and a massive investigation into what went so horribly wrong.
And when they analyzed the data, a stark pattern emerged. The boats with the trendy, shorter, lighter keels, they capsized at a terrifyingly high rate. But the more traditional designs, the ones with long, deep, heavy keels, they proved to be far more stable. This wasn't a theory anymore. It was proven in the worst way possible. And it directly led to new safety regulations that changed how these boats are built forever.
But here's the really shocking thing. The most important lesson from that disaster wasn't actually about boat design. It was about human behavior. The investigation found that the vast majority of deaths happened after sailors made one single tragic mistake.
And this brings us to the final and maybe most important piece of the puzzle. You can have the best boat in the world, but in a storm, it's the crew and their decisions that can make all the difference. For example, one of the most effective tactics is something called heaving to.
It sounds totally wrong. You actually adjust the sails to stop the boat and just let it drift. But as it drifts sideways, it creates this patch of turbulent, choppy water upwind. That choppy water acts like a shield, disrupting and weakening the big waves before they can hit the boat with their full power. You're using the ocean to protect yourself from the ocean. It's brilliant.
So, what were those fatal errors from the Fastnet? The investigation boiled it down to three main things. Bad preparation, gear not tied down, hatches not sealed. Ignoring the weather forecast was another huge one. But the number one killer, by a long shot, was abandoning the yacht for a life raft while the boat was still floating.
This led to what is now the unbreakable golden rule of offshore sailing. Your yacht is your best lifeboat. It is designed to survive. You stay with your vessel until the absolute last moment. You trust the engineering. You only get off when it is literally sinking out from under your feet.
So, when you put it all together, what you have is this final showdown. It's a classic battle. Brute force and sheer size versus intelligent design and skillful tactics.
And this table really sums it all up. A large ship has to use its engine power to fight the sea, to plow through it. It's not very maneuverable. A small yacht, on the other hand, just rides over the waves like a cork. Its super low center of gravity gives it incredible stability. And maybe most important of all, the sailor has tactical options that a ship's captain just doesn't have. They can stop, they can drift, they can adapt. It really leaves you with this one big thought. When we're faced with the most powerful forces in nature, we instinctively think that bigger is better. But the humble sailing yacht proves that sometimes the key to survival isn't size at all. It's a combination of flexibility, smart physics, and human ingenuity. It makes you wonder, in the ultimate storm, what really matters more, brute force or brilliant design?